we have one of our industry's most respected leader. He has been instrumental in building technology-powered business models by developing intensive understanding of over 100 entrepreneur categories, including taxi services, livestock entrepreneurs, kirana stores, salons, auto mechanics, retail trade, to name a few. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to be welcoming on stage our esteemed keynote speaker of the day, Mr. V. Vaidyanathan, MD and CEO, IDFC FIRST Bank.
Good morning, friends. It's really a great pleasure and honor for me to be invited by this very august gathering to speak to all of you today. The organizers asked me to speak about the big opportunities that are coming up in India over the next many years. And then, but I actually thought, which I will, very briefly, but frankly, the opportunities in India are very well known to many of us who are living here. We can see how things are growing. So I will actually rather focus on risk management and how the new ecosystem is going to help all of us expand the markets and control risk. Now, I would like to share with you, when we talk of risk, we all know that there is this new digital ecosystem that has come about in the last maybe 7 or 8 years. This digital ecosystem is not just enabling credit, easy delivery, it is an extremely strong risk mitigant. And I want to just share with you how we do our loans. And maybe that will ring a bell in some of you. If you're following these practices, great. If you're not following the practices, you can implement it also. That will be wonderful for everybody and wonderful for the ecosystem. Now, think of a customer wanting to buy a laptop or maybe a rural credit or maybe a two-wheeler or whatever. Now, the first thing we do when the customer applies for this loan is that we go and hit UIDAI. So when we hit UIDAI, we're getting the photograph, you're getting all the essential information. And remember, there's a biometric KYC. Biometric. Customers come in presence. Customers put their thumb. We have noticed that when the customer is giving, a photocopy of a license or something, the pressure is really not on the customer. Because the moment you put your thumb, you can never deny it as yours. So therefore, customer becomes that much more serious about the whole activity. Now this customer has given this information. Now, gone to Aadhaar, picked up the information, UIDAI, got the information. Now you've done, now go to NSDL, pick up the data from NSDL. You do NSDL PAN match because customer has given you a certain PAN number. You match it with the name. You check the name coming from this database, check the name with that database, and now you've done. So immediately you've two container of information, which is UIDAI information and PAN validation. You have identified the customers and the name match. Then after this, you go and check, you go and hit NPCI. In NPCI, you get IMPS, penny drop. When you do a penny drop, you get a name. Now you got touched a third container of banking system, and you check the name match there. You become that much more safe. Compare this with what it was just 7, 8 years ago, that you were having a photocopy of passport or license. I mean, you know how photocopies are. You can fudge it, you can put something on it, you can put a whitener on it, you can write something else on it, you can take a photocopy on it. Particularly if you're dealing with external parties who are desperate to get loans, then these things can happen. So that system got completely, there are 3 containers I described. You're connected to the 3 containers, match the name, you get that much more comfort that you're dealing with a real customer out here and nobody can deny the existence of this transaction. Now you've done these 3. Then you say, okay, now you need to do a credit check because the earlier activity was an identity check. You did a credit check. For that, we go and hit CIBIL, for example, or any bureau, but we do use CIBIL very frequently. We get information. Now, we don't go and pick the score from there. That's CIBIL's own score, and there are many uses of that. But we go and pick up the underlying variables from the bureau. When we pick underlying variables, we pick whether the customer, how the track record of the customer has been with offers. Because on us, we already know offers, how the customer is behaving elsewhere. We know how much the customer is defaulting or not defaulting. Is the customer paying late? Is the customer paying on time? If it's late also, Is it just reasonably late or like really bad late? So you get all the information, how frequently the customer is asking and requesting for credit in the bureau, and velocity of it and so on. You pick all these strands of information and then you put it in a container. Then you also get the product that is being financed. Say the asset. Suppose somebody is buying a consumer durable or a television or a laptop or what brand they are buying, if they are so. If it's a customer who's applying for a restaurant loan or a customer is applying for a salon loan, we don't say, oh, MSME scorecard. I find that pretty, blunt instrument. I went to some of these people and say, oh, we have MSME scorecard. कहता है ये क्या MSME scorecard क्या होता है यार? MSME is such a wide base. Then you can make scorecards for salons, you make scorecards for restaurants, you make salon scorecards for, different categories of people whom you finance. So anyway, coming back to the point, you pick data from the scorecard, from here, from demographic, the underlying asset that is being financed. Is it business financing? Is it consumption financing? And consumption financing, is it laptop or is it something else? Within laptop, what model is it? What time of the day the purchase is being done? What is the mobile number of the customer? The mobile number series also reflects some information. So all this number comes into a scorecard. Now, when this comes into the scorecard, now the scorecard is doing good quality work. It's a next-gen scorecard is constantly being developed, so you get a scorecard. Now, score has established whether the customer will pay or not based on the capability. Now, apart from scorecard, now think of the customer who has an intent problem. Now, intent is not solved by any of these issues. Intent is intent. Now, that's where fraud comes. So then we think, Sarach, and say, fraud kaise kare? Now the fraud intent, we have a scorecard for that. In fraud, again, the scorecards are that there can be 2-3 kinds of frauds. Customer itself may have himself or herself may have an intention for a fraud. For example, somebody is 45 years old. PAN card is 1 year old. Then you ask a question, for 45 years, you were working for 20 years probably in your life, PAN card nahi hai, coming 1 year before and taking a PAN card. Ho sakta hai ki you're just trying to, beat the system by taking a, latest PAN card so that maybe the past PAN card is a problem. Or, the customer is maybe living in Kandivali but coming to, town to buy a TV when, houses nearby, you could have bought the same TV there. So these are some, you do a connection and get all this kind of information. So these are customer level information that you pick. Then the other kind of fraud that can happen is the executive who's working for us. Could be our own employee, right? Could be our own employee, could be an employee who's filling up some information form. Now for that, again, there's a fraud scorecard. So in that scorecard, then we track, this executive. For example, somebody has gone to do a verification of a customer, like a physical verification. Now, well, who knows if some other verifier had done a job and you just cut-paste that application and put it here, how do we know? So then we say that we do a lat-long check whether verifier actually visited the customer's place. Because customer's residence is a lat-long. We have a latitude, longitude of the employee who's going. You attach this and you really know did really go there because the photograph has been taken, has a latitude, longitude. So again, these are employee fraud controls or, how frequently, how they're filling up the form. Are they pausing too long in between the form and flicking instruments to get information? Are they filling it at a reasonable pace? Are you logging in too many applications within a period of time, which is not possible for a normal person? That kind of stuff. So this is that. Then you also have the fraud checks, controls done for a dealer level, saying that if a car dealer or a two-wheeler dealer is applying for loans for you or, giving you applications, then whether that's sounding reasonable, in terms of number of applications, how does this, how many applications is this person loading? If in this location of the dealership, what are the products that sell? And is it in line with that? For example, if something is a relatively lower income area, but you're sending a really high income, television, which is maybe costing 4 lakh rupees, then you can scratch your head saying that, look, this is something wrong. So scorecard. So scorecard at employee level, scorecard at fraud scorecard at employee level, fraud scorecard at dealer level, fraud scorecard at executive level, all these. Then you have all this source of information that come. I talked to you about how the identity questions came, then I talked to you about how the credit underwriting come, now I'm talking about how the fraud process come. Now, you did the fraud checks. Now, supposing you have 3 fraud scorecards, one fraud scorecard is saying this customer is okay. Another fraud scorecard is saying customer is not okay, don't give the loan. Now, how do you deal? They're all fraud scorecards. So then you put an arbitration layer on top of it. The arbitration layer will then, will find a algorithm around it of figuring out that this is sounding a reasonable, waiver and this is not a reason. Because human beings can't sit in doing all this work. So this system has to do. So arbitration layer plays out. Then you've done all this work. Then after doing all this work, now you need to do agreement because customer has agreed and you've given the loan. Now, or you're not given the loan, but you've done the appraisal and you've done the intent. Now you got to give the loan. Now, for giving the loan, you need an agreement. Now, again, if you go back in time, not very long ago, just 5-6 years ago, in fact, 5 years ago sounds so really outdated, that now agreement, what do? We fire, legality and any of these guys, and then we do a electronic signature, then mandate, because customers will give a mandate now to repay. Now, not very long ago, we were taking checks. Now, checks are dead. Most of our instruments are now coming, like 99%, I think, is coming either from standing instruction to our own bank, SI, or NASH, eNASH, or Aadhaar NASH, or any of these options. So now we're done with agreement, we're done with repayment. All this digital, end-to-end is not only, of course, enabling credit, everybody knows that, but it's also enabling risk. Because I told you, a physical photocopy of a passport given or a license, not the same thing as an identity done, check the 3 containers. Agreement done digitally is that much more. So the whole stack. Also, cash flow. Many products require cash flow. In the cash flow assessment, going back to the appraisal process, again, you used to take bank statement of account, bank statement somebody will bring to the bank or to the lending company, one chartered account will sit and do data entry of that. We can make some unintentional mistakes, maybe intentional mistakes, and then it'll take so much time to do that activity. Now, PDF is coming, and the PDF, what do? We take the PDF, we scan the PDF, then the PDF you can quickly read, maybe even 100 pages of report, and you can come to know that this customer is keeping balances of this much amount from this time to this time of the month. So you know that 1st to 7th of the month, you got to bank that check. Does 1st to 7th of the month, every month for the last 5 months, does the customer keep balances? So there's cash flow lending. So there's a real high quality cash flow lending. When sometimes, I talk to people about cash flow lending, people think, यार तुम्हारे employee बैठ के साथ cash गिनते होंगे. ऐसे नहीं होता है. वो bank statement में cash दिखता है. Cash meaning credits. So let me clarify that. When we say cash flow lending, maybe we should call it credit for lending. So it is like, it's not cash. Nobody's sitting and counting cash. Actually it was done. Like not again long ago, I met one small NBFC who said, हम हर customer के यहाँ बैठते हैं, हम गिनते हैं कितने cup of चाय बेचता है, उसको हम 5 रुपए से multiply करते हैं, फिर हम कैसे करते हैं, वो सब खत्म हो गया. Right now the bank में आता है because everybody is coming UPI में पैसा आ गया, उसको cash flow check लिया, scan के लिया, you can find out. So I described to you right from the 6 steps or up till now about how you do digital controls and digital, risk mitigants. And let me tell you, every one of these steps vis-a-vis the past processes is that much more better in control. We have experienced this, and maybe CIBIL people can, or whoever will talk later, they will confirm what I'm saying. Our gross NPA and capital force used to be 2%. Now our NPA has come down to 1.5%. Our net NPA and capital force used to be 1%. Now it has come down to 0.5%. So this whole new digital system is really working for risk management. And of course, it is also helping for, other reasons we talked about. So by taking you through this process step by step, I'm just sharing with you that at every stage, the combination of availability of the ecosystems, each of the ecosystems we talked about, the NSDL, the UIDAI, the banking system ecosystem, the e-sign, e-mandate, e-agreement, this whole ecosystem, and the India stack that came about, the data layer, the consent layer, the payment layer, the whole stack that has come about, that is really very, very powerful for this whole process. Now, therefore, after all this comes to monitoring. After all, you've given them the loan, you have to monitor the loan. So when you come to monitoring the loan, again, the new digital ecosystem, very powerful. One of the services given by, is actually again by the CIBIL, Transunion team, etc. Because you can go and scrub your own customers on the bureau, how they're performing. It is very powerful in monitoring, by the way. Okay, so our customer will be paying us, but you can go and scrub, are they paying somebody else or not? If they're not paying somebody else, then it's a problem for us. Someday that ours will be the next turn. So that monitoring has become much more digital. Every time you can go and hit one more ecosystem, get the information. The point is that this country has built this amazing stack and capabilities of these many ecosystems we talked about. Our ability to connect with this ecosystem live, get the information, process it, and make meaningful analysis out of it is a very important piece. Because otherwise, these are ecosystems, they'll be lying there only. For us, there'll be some general talk for giving lectures. But it is not we are not here for giving lectures. We are not academicians. We've got to use that information, and we've got to convert that to real, meaningful, decision-making process. And therefore, this is how, at least our experience is really very, very powerful. I want to share this with you so that you realize the power of the new digital ecosystems coming about. Many people who I met sometimes say कि यार हम तो ये सब करते ही नहीं, हमारा बैंक तो अच्छे चल रहा है, और my NPA is still very low. अरे यार हो सकता है. Okay, it is true because Indian NPA on retail has been low, but we should be very, very, very careful about lending. Because this risk is, you don't know when it's building up. You see how the regulator is also constantly reminding everybody, number of new loans being taken, how many loans are being taken by the single customer, below the pyramid, 50,000 and below, ticket size issues. So we should be very, very careful here. And this is like wearing a helmet. You can say, tell me, helmet nahi pehna, फिर गाड़ी चल रही है, मेरे को कुछ नहीं हुआ. You can say, मैं seat belt नहीं पहना, मेरी गाड़ी चल रही है, मेरे को तो कुछ नहीं हुआ. That ठीक है, you cannot do all these things and still you'll be okay because India is okay. But as an AR, this is like wearing a helmet, just like wearing a seat belt. And therefore, when it touches ecosystems, we can, do this business in a safe manner. Or if you don't want to do all these things, you can do home loan, car loan. उसमें problem ही नहीं है. कुछ करो ना करो, they have customers pay back on home loan, car loan. Okay, but if you want to do, India में NPA नहीं है, you see HDFC's numbers for 25 years, you see ICICI, you see our numbers, home loan में is the NPA. So you could do that. But if you want to do businesses where you have to, where you have to develop quality intellectual property, if you could expand the markets, then in any case, even if you do home loan, car loan, which is really gives no delinquency or less delinquency, even there, these control systems and wearing the helmet and seat belt in the forming of connecting all the ecosystems can be very powerful. Last thing is, after the entire life cycle I took you through, finally is collections. Now, collections also, again, the technology has become a very big role to play, again, developing these capabilities. Now, we've got a small video for you. I'll just play that video, then you'll get it by yourself.
नमस्ते. मैंने हाल ही में देखा कि आप अपने IDFC फर्स्ट बैंक लोन की इस महीने की EMI का भुगतान करने से चूक गए हैं. समय पर EMI का भुगतान नहीं करने के कुछ गंभीर परिणाम हो सकते हैं. इससे आपका सिबिल क्रेडिट स्कोर भी खराब हो जाता है और कम सिबिल स्कोर से आपके परिवार की जरूरतें अधूरी रह सकती हैं, क्योंकि कम सिबिल के रहते आपके सपनों का घर, कार या किसी भी इमरजेंसी के लिए भविष्य में लोन लेना बहुत मुश्किल होता है. लेकिन चिंता करने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. अच्छी बात यह है कि इससे बचना काफ़ी आसान है. बस आप अपने IDFC फर्स्ट बैंक लोन EMI का तुरंत भुगतान करें और अपने परिजनों के उज्जवल भविष्य की ओर एक और कदम बढ़ाएं. एक छोटी सी देरी को भविष्य में एक बड़ी चुनौती न बनने दें. धन्यवाद.
नमस्ते. आपकी इस महीने की EMI बाउंस हो गई है. देरी से EMI का भुगतान आपका सिबिल स्कोर कम कर सकता है, जिस वजह से आपके भविष्य में कार, घर या एजुकेशन लोन मिलने की संभावना कम हो सकती है. अब चिंता करने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. आज ही इस महीने की बची EMI का भुगतान करें और अपने उज्जवल भविष्य की ओर एक कदम बढ़ाएं.
Introduction of multimodal and multi-language communications in push notifications. Introduction of vernacular languages and a multi-language approach. Sending store locator link for people who prefer to pay via cash. The customer decides to clear their pending EMI. Customer can select their preferred payment app, and it is as simple as flipping over to PhonePe. The customer is nudged to set up autopay from the account they typically pay from to avoid repeat bounces in future. This entire process is just 2 clicks combination. Cloud-based bank control dialer for field and recovery teams to ensure control over quality of conversation. And instant callback for customers who dropped off while paying their pending dues. Digital endorsement card and virtual code of conduct training in vernacular languages.
So the point I was leaving by showing this short video with you is to tell you that even in collections, you don't have to, that again, calling customers and saying, pay me, wo gaya, wo 1990s ka kaam tha, 2000s ka kaam tha. Now, you can really profile the customer, we do, and then we know this customer we can send a WhatsApp message. We know some customers will anyway pay, even if you don't disturb them, they will pay. Some customers will send a WhatsApp, some customers send a SMS, some customer do a call. Customer of WhatsApp customers, should we send a video, should we send them a voice blast? Again, it's a decision. So at every stage, what channel, what medium within that channel, then attach a journey, like we just showed here, so that if the customer says, okay, I'll pay, how easy that journey is, you send a UPI link. You don't have to send an agent to the customer's home. You can send a UPI link, customer pays with UPI link, right? So this capability to build all the capabilities really makes us feel, like I said, feels like wearing a helmet or wearing a seat belt. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure talking to all of you. And hopefully, with all this, we can actually expand credit, but more safely, because lending has risk and serious risk, especially, small ticket, for example, BNPL loans, 1 month money. It has risk. Who can deny risk? If 5,000 rupee ka loan hai, you're going to earn, even if you earn 2% per month, you think you're earning 24% per annum, 2%. 2% of 5,000 rupees is 100 rupees only. तुम्हारा एक कॉल जाएगा 100 रुपीस खत्म हो जाएगा, right? There's no economics there, right? So co-lending risks. Somebody is originating for you, you're booking on your books. What collection that person is doing? If they do a bad job or they harass customers, the impact will come to our bank or our organization. These are co-lending risks, structured product risks. When you do structured transactions, and those lead to risks. So there are risks, but to be aware of the risk is very important. To conscious of them, note them down, mitigate them through proper use of technology, and to actually tell our people in collections and everybody to be soft with customers, to be, like even if you saw the video here, it is educative. And sometimes just by the education, by saying, aapka CIBIL kharab ho jayega, pay, they pay. So, or give them a little time here or there, whatever. So thanks everybody. So I hope that was, that's what I want to share with you. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Vaidya.
Good morning.
So, glad to note that the IDFC First Bank has separate scorecards for retailers, for saloons and restaurants. Similarly, I feel the industry also should think in terms of having separate getting conditions. Given the nature of the micro enterprises, they are beset with the perennial mismatches in the timing mismatches in the cash flows. That being the case, is it fair to judge their scores or put them on this same pedestal as mid corporates or large corporates in terms of repayment behavior, and then judging their CIBIL scores?
It's one thing to feel for the underserved segment of MSME, which is very true, and we all feel for it. But at the same time, we have to be very careful here, because the scope for default in our industry is only that much. You can have credit cost of 1.5%, 2%, right, which is a reasonable amount. So therefore, the more we define, first, therefore, we can't take chances with this. It is if it's unorganized, no cash, no transaction on trail, only cash, I'm really sorry, I can't help you. I mean, I can't do banking with you. It's the truth.
In fact, see, the challenge to the banking industry is that how to take them, forward.
How to take them formal is a national prerogative, and frankly, last 8-10 years, the amount of national formalization is dramatic. You see how, I don't know to tell you, you've seen all the QR codes and all that. So it's been dramatic, but that people have to become formal before they learn from the formal banking system. Because banking system is responsible to depositors, responsible to shareholders. You just can't afford to have NPA anywhere more than 2%, at least gross. And net should not be more than 0.5 or something. So the scope, that much thin. That's why banking system is so tight. Even we become very conservative. I'm not saying blaming somebody else. I can tell you after becoming a bank, first we were capital first, our NPA was 2.1, 2.2. Now it is 1.5. Kyun? Dar lagta hai. So because we have to be very careful, right? We can't take chances only. So we tightened every criteria, put all these systems and technologies. So our risk appetite comes down as a bank. It's a truth. And therefore, we have to be, very careful.
We have to accept this as a reality, which we can't
It's
do.
a reality. It's a reality because risk appetite for a bank is lesser than the NBFC, and particularly with so much signals coming all the time, to be careful, to be careful. Do you think anybody can afford not to be careful? It's not possible. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, Rajesh.
Thank you. That was a wonderful coverage of probably what some of us in the audience have spent 20 years of our lives doing. Well, a quick question. As you beautifully articulated our side of the story as bankers on the lending side, I somehow get the feeling that probably as an industry, including CIBIL, we probably can do much more on creating awareness on the other side with our borrowers and the population. Love to hear your thoughts on how we can step up this. And that indeed is going to help us in turn as we...
It's a super great point. Really, Rajesh, I'm happy you flagged it because this whole stack we were discussing from, how we can lend and protect ourselves at the same time. Sometimes I tell our people also that to even collect from customers on time is a service. It's a service because that customer's CIBIL record also getting spoiled. So to reach a customer on time, informing the customer you're running behind schedule, even if politely, like the person here did, is a service. And our people need to have a service mentality. I'm telling the public forum, I tell them in town halls also, to service collection, because एक service mentality, because service, तुम service कर रहे हो, then तो softly बोलोगे, request करोगे. Right? If you you don't have a service mentality, you'll talk very differently and it doesn't go well with the brand. So that's about us. But to your point, really, like you said, education, industry entities like yourself can do a very big job, and maybe there can be even a combined, education campaign. Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Take it closer.
I'm Rakesh Bhatt from Shinhan Bank. Sir, my question is around the retail credit risk that banks are exposed to, especially when it comes from DSAs or the third parties. So what we have seen, like what the analysis says, that the NPA through DSAs are relatively higher than what we get from direct sourcing in the banks. So rather than following the traditional ways of selecting DSAs or the third parties, how digital platforms or technology can help us to mitigate the risk that comes from the third parties or the DSAs?
See, nowadays everything has come on a system. Even the data you're pointing out is also outdated. Nowadays, there's not much difference between the kind of sourcing because, see, the credit is still with the bank. No third party can do credit. They can originate credit decisioning with the bank. And it's all online. All the system and text we talked about, every single one of them work, whether you're originated internally or externally, the whole stack. But having said that, our own banks are sitting on wealth of data. And banks are also sitting on a platform, sitting on a payment platform, because you can collect. So it's a very, data plus a payment platform is a very powerful, let me say, combination for enabling more of credit on our own books, self-done directly on our own app, on our own website. That's the right way to go.
Morning, Mr. Vaidya. I just want to understand how do you look at the leveraging aspect part? How do you look at the leveraging aspect part, especially on the consumer loan side and a personal loan sides?
So, see, the thing is that, frankly, bureaus are a big help in that process because you know before giving a loan how many loans customer has. Without this, you will probably fly blind. So, bureaus are a very big thing. But I'll tell you, in the future, how this should happen, ideally. And here, Rajesh and team and everybody has an important role to play. Getting data from banks on a daily basis, not monthly upload to bureaus, daily basis, it can be a very big help. And not only on a daily basis of stock information that you have a loan, car loan of 5 lakh rupees. That's information. On a DPD reporting on a daily basis. So Rajesh, if you can work on this, it will be very useful. Notice the difference between the two. Telling you how much balance you have on a daily basis is one information. Telling you how many days you are outstanding on a daily basis can be a very powerful thing. Which means that if a customer has taken a loan, suppose the installment is supposed to be cleared on the 2nd of the month. Suppose the customer bounced the check or bounced the ECS or a standing instruction, paid the money on the 22nd of the month, paid 20 days late. Today, on the bureau, it will look like current, zero outstanding. But no, this customer has taken 20 days to pay. The daily reporting of DPD will make a big difference. So sorry, more hands there. So but I hope you got the point I was trying to answer.
Yeah. Sir, good morning.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
And by the way, for this entire banking system, NBFC system, everybody should report on a daily basis. The DPD and the balance, it will make a huge difference to this leveraging in the country. And by the way, as of now, things are good. I can tell you numbers are good, etc. But still, this is a very important control to bring. But like you said before, you can never be too sure in lending.
Sir, good morning. I have a question regarding this cash flow based lending. Because we see some of our customers, they are getting cash in their accounts. But do you think that the source is very important for us or not? Because in so many times, we are not getting the source. From which source the customer is getting money?
Well, source is very clear. I mean, in the sense that GST is GST. You can know it's a cash flow is coming from GST. That's a source. It's a business source. If it's a, transaction that customer is honoring at a particular pattern in the bank statement, after all, we are lending to patterns. So thank you very much, friends. I can see some hands, but my apology. In another session, whenever I'll hopefully address some questions. Thanks, everybody. Nice speaking to all of you. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vaidyanathan. Your profound experience and insights you shared with us today will help us in channeling sustainable growth and financial inclusion collaboratively. May I now request our chairman, Mr. Anantharaman, to felicitate and thank Mr. Vaidyanathan on behalf of all of us. A huge round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen.